This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. We begin with the trial of a Denver baker who has become known for standing firm for his Christian beliefs. This time, Jack Phillips is on trial for refusing to make a cake celebrating a gender transition. You may remember Mr. Phillips' partial Supreme Court victory back in 2018. That case was about his refusal to bake a wedding cake for two men. The Supreme Court ruled that the Colorado Civil Rights Commission showed anti-religious bias when it sanctioned Phillips for his refusal to make that cake. But the court did not rule on the bigger issue, whether businesses can refuse service to LGBTQ customers based on religious beliefs. Well, this week, a state judge in Denver presided over a virtual trial in regards to Phillips' refusal to make this transition gender cake. Customer Autumn Scardina, an attorney and who identifies as a transgender woman, said she wanted to test Mr. Phillips after hearing that he wouldn't make a gay wedding cake for religious reasons, but would sell any other type of product. In a 2019 deposition, she is quoted as saying, "I truly believed that. I want to believe that he's a good person. I want to believe that he could be sort of persuaded to the errors of his thinking," Scardina said, according to a transcript that was previewed by Fox News. Scardina placed an order on the same day the Supreme Court announced it would hear Phillips' same-sex wedding cake case. In court, she denied that the order was a setup. Instead, she described it as, quote, calling someone's bluff. We're joined now by attorney Jake Warner at Alliance Defending Freedom. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. Mr. Phillips says this gender transition cake case is a trap. Do you see it that way?
I certainly do see it that way. If you remember back a few years ago, on the same day that the U.S. Supreme Court decided to hear Jack's first case, this local Denver attorney contacted Jack to request a custom pink and blue cake to celebrate a gender transition. And a few months later, the same attorney called Jack requesting a custom cake depicting Satan smoking marijuana. But this attorney has been tracking Jack for a long time. If you go back to 2012, this attorney emailed Jack calling him a bigot and a hypocrite. What's clear from these facts is that this attorney has been hounding Jack for years, all because this attorney disagrees with Jack's views on sex and gender.
Tell us how the trial this week went.
The trial went very well this week. It's very clear that while Jack serves everyone, he just can't express every message through his custom cakes. And I think the judge understood that. This case is about someone who is harassing Jack into trying to express a message that Jack cannot due to his religious beliefs.
Mr. Phillips has dropped a federal lawsuit against the state in which he accused it of trying to crush him by pursuing the Scardina complaint. Are you concerned that, he really is becoming a target and will find himself facing even more orders that go against his religious beliefs?
Right. Jack has been a target for years. The state tried to prosecute Jack, but you might remember that case ended a few years ago when new evidence of the state's hostility against Jack surfaced. But that hasn't stopped some activists like this local attorney from still harassing Jack, all because that they disagree with Jack's beliefs on important life issues like sex and gender.
How is Mr. Phillips holding up after almost 10 years of legal battle? He described to one news outlet that he had his daughter as well as wife having to testify again. How's he doing?
He's doing well. He's endured nearly a decade of litigation. He's lost a significant part of his business. And just this week, he had to watch his wife and daughter stand trial because of a stand that he made for his religious beliefs. It's been a tough time for Jack, but he is a faithful man, and he's trusting that God will do big things for him through this case.
Can you talk about the bigger picture? Is this sort of just symptomatic of perhaps what we are going to face down the road? Others like Mr. Phillips and folks who have religious beliefs on certain issues. Is this going to be what we're going to be facing in the future?
This is a big problem. It's not only affected Jack, but it's affected creative professionals around the country. State officials are applying certain laws to force these people to express messages that go against their core beliefs. And more courts over the past few years have stepped up and said, no, the government can't do that under the First Amendment. And what we're hoping is that the U.S. Supreme Court will weigh in and say, no government official has the power to punish people for declining to express a message that goes against their core beliefs.
Okay, Mr. Warner, we will have to leave it there. Jake Warner with the Alliance Defending Freedom, incidentally, the group that is also representing Mr. Phillips in this case. Thank you so much for coming on the broadcast, and have a great weekend, okay?
Thanks. You too.
You're welcome. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson has signed the Fairness in Women's Sports Act into law. The new law says that female athletes should not compete in sports against someone of the male sex. That's something that has become a huge cultural issue, with transgender female athletes who are biologically male competing against women. Hutchinson says he studied the law and heard from hundreds of constituents on the issue before signing it into law. He says he's a fan of women's sports and hopes the new law promotes and maintains fairness in sporting events. Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma is one of a number of members of Congress touring the border right now, getting a first-hand look at the crisis there. He posted this video on Twitter Tuesday saying, "Day 2 from the border. This is a pod that's designed to hold 80 people that's currently holding 709. He also posted a video last night at a bridge on the border. Take a look.
That far end down there, the bright spot, that's Mexico right down there. They'll show up down at that spot. They'll be able to walk through. They're picked up by Border Patrol here. They're organized. They get their name, their information. They'll go through a very basic screening where basically they're asked, do you feel well, kind of thing, with a basic screening. They'll get their name and information. If they have a child that's 6 years old or younger, or they're unaccompanied minor, but they can have like 10 people together that all say they're family, and if they have one child that's 5 or 6 years old, then all these folks will be released tonight into McAllen, Texas. Literally within a couple of hours from when they walk up from Mexico, they'll go through the basic processing here, and all these folks will be released into the United States tonight with what's called a notice to appear. It's a piece of paperwork saying you've got to show up at a court hearing. Some of those court hearings are 3 years later. So literally they're into the country for the next 3 years. So they'll walk up way down there. They'll come through some basic processing here, and you can see, I don't know how many are here right now. And then there's buses here at the end, and those buses will take them into the central part of McAllen, Texas, and they'll just be released at a bus station from there, and they can go anywhere in the country that they want to be able to go with that update. This is the problem. This is one of the areas that the media is not allowed to be able to come into. That's why I wanted to be able to be here, to be able to see it and say, this is the thing that Biden does not want you to see, is that literally people walk across the border, they check in here, and they are all released. 100% of the people that are here tonight will be released. So this is absolutely an open border situation. Anyone who wants to come in from any country in the world, if you walk onto this bridge here in McAllen, Texas, on the Mexico side of it, and get here, and you pay the cartels to actually come up to this area. So the cartels make you pay a fee to be able to come here on the Mexico side. Then they come in here and they're all released. So no matter what your background is, no matter who you are, if you come through this spot right here, you're going to be released. This is what open borders really looks like, and this is why this is a problem.
You were listening to Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma right there on the border. One correction we want to make. We said that the video that was posted on Tuesday, it actually was posted on today. Just that one correction. Okay. Moving on. President Biden said 200 million Americans will have gotten a COVID-19 vaccine within his first 100 days of office. Right now, 2.5 million people are getting their shots each day. Take a listen.
This has been a long year, and I know people are tired, and they don't want to hear that it's going to take us a little while longer, but it's going to take us a little while longer. Our advice is clear. We're vaccinating really, really quickly, and we're just asking people to hang on a little while longer in terms of the masks and the mitigation strategies so that we can get the majority of people vaccinated.
Meanwhile, former CDC Director Robert Redfield said he believes the virus originated in a Wuhan lab, but added it's just his opinion and he has no evidence to back it up. 23 tornadoes hit several southern states, including the hardest hit Alabama. At least 5 people died there. It wrecked homes, splintered trees, and hammered businesses. 17 reported tornadoes traveled roughly 100 miles through the area. The state's governor issued an emergency declaration with officials opening shelters. By the way, forecasters say more severe weather is expected this weekend and into next week, with some of the same southern states being impacted. CBN's Operation Blessing is sending teams to Alabama to help those affected. We move overseas now, where Israelis are preparing for Passover this weekend, and many there are wondering, if their country can avoid a 5th election. The final count in Tuesday's 4th election left Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his party short of the parliamentary seats needed to secure a majority. Netanyahu and his allies got 52 seats. They needed 61 to form a government. It's left the country once again in a political deadlock and put its longtime leaders' future in question. It was coordinated, systematic, and a new level of horror and savagery. That's how Niger's government described this week's brutal attack by suspected Islamic jihadists. 137 people were killed when Muslim militants linked to ISIS struck near Niger's border with Mali. Those are the 2 provinces that were hit. 22 children, by the way, were also killed in the terror attacks. Eyewitnesses say the gunmen riding on motorbikes entered the villages, shooting at everything which moved. The West African nation is witnessing a surge in militant jihadist violence, with an estimated 300 people killed this year alone. Coming up, Good Friday is just around the corner, and the CBN News Channel is hosting a special program to honor the day. We will tell you more about it in a moment. Stay with us.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time: keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back. Good Friday is just a week away, and CBN is excited to let you know about a special service that will be on the CBN News Channel. It's called the Good Friday Worldwide Broadcast, and it's been put on by the group Pulse. They created the service last year in response to churches not being able to meet during the pandemic. It reached 115 million homes in 120 different countries. Pulse is doing the same thing, and this year's guests include Francis Chan, Ebony Small for King and Country, Michael W. Smith, Tasha Cobbs, and Kerry Joby. Nick Hall with Pulse joins me now. Welcome to the broadcast. What an exciting opportunity this is to take the gospel to the nations at this most important time of the year. Tell us more about it.
You know, we are so excited to be partnered with CBN. We believe that this is an urgent opportunity, that people have never been more open to the hope of Easter and the story of a God who meets us in our pain, who suffers on our behalf on the cross. And so we really believe this is a global declaration. It's a global cry for the church to share the gospel, and it's an invitation for prodigals and lost image bearers of God to find their identity. This year's program is going into 39 languages. It's literally going around the globe. Last year, we saw over 120,000 people respond to the gospel. We believe this year it could be double that.
And you guys, you jumped on it right away, noticing the pandemic in full bore back last year. Talk about the feedback that you've had in the last 12 months.
You know, we've seen the global church mobilize. I'm talking about indigenous churches, house church movements, people in China, the Middle East, India, all across Africa. Last year, people were literally risking going to prison to get the translations done because people were stuck at home. And it's still the case in so much of the world as the quarantine, the pandemic has shut down so many things. And we get the opportunity to share the good news of the gospel. This year, it's even grown beyond that. Now we have simulcast locations streaming this in. We're going to have over 300 individual host sites across North America and thousands around the world, literally believers sharing the gospel with their friends, helping people understand why is Easter so awesome and what makes Good Friday so good.
Nick, what is your prayer for this year's event? Obviously, a lot has changed in the last year. Talk about your goals for this year.
You know, I really believe that we need good news. I mean, we are desperate for some good news. And so I just think, man, we want to see people experience the hope of Easter, to come back to the hope and the good news of the cross. So we're obviously praying. I'm an evangelist. I want to see those lost sheep, right? We want to leave the 99 and go after the one. But I think this is an opportunity to see the global church wake up and realize the urgency and the opportunity of this moment. That's my prayer. I believe this is the greatest evangelistic opportunity of our lifetime that we're living in right now in 2021.
Yeah, real quickly, 30 seconds here, Nick. We here, of course, are going to be airing it on the CBN News Channel. I'm sure you're excited. Do you hope that it will reach an even greater audience?
You know, we're expecting over 200 million people to tune in and watch this year. There's more follow-up. There's more discipleship. The time is now.
All right, terrific. We'll have to leave it there. Excited and congratulations. Glad to partner with you. Nick Hall with Pulse. Thanks so much for all your work and your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Still ahead, a newspaper columnist wants Oral Roberts University ousted from the NCAA. Hear his argument on why after the break.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
we know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com to get your copy today.
USA Today columnist Himal Yaveri is calling on the NCAA to boot Oral Roberts University from playing. He feels the school's Christian beliefs and values are a relic of the past and says their discriminatory and hateful anti-LGBTQ plus policies are what should really be protested. Despite the pushback, the team continues to make impressive moves in this year's March Madness. First, they defeated the number 2 seed Ohio State and then toppled number 7 Florida this past Sunday, advancing to the Sweet 16. ORU coach Paul Mills gave some encouraging remarks to the team's winnings.
I tell our guys this often. We need to use our God-given abilities for God-given reasons. What our guys need to understand is we're really not that important, and you need to know that.
CBN Sports Director Sean Brown joins me now for more. So, Sean, your take on the USA Today columnist wanting the team ousted based on their religious beliefs?
Well, George, I understand where he's coming from. I understand the argument. If you look at the history with the university, I understand where he's coming from, but it sounds to me that his issue is with the university and their policies rather than the students themselves. I mean, the university has 150 different majors, including ministry. And so to me, it sounds like his issues with the university and the policies rather than the students. So why would you penalize students who have worked so hard and earned the right to play in this tournament? Why would you penalize them when your issue is clearly with the university and their policies? And so they're successful right now. I don't know that it was an issue before they began winning games, but they're winning games, and now he decides to bring it up. That's interesting.
Yeah.
However, I do understand the argument. I just don't agree with, removing the students from the tournament when they've earned the right, and it has nothing to do with them, but more so with his issues with the university.
Okay, we are in the tournament. We are in the Sweet 16 bracket. Are there some favorites in the running now?
Well, George, there's 3 number 1 seeds left. You got Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. And so I've said it, before, it's all about who shows up on game day. It's all about who shows up when it's time to play. And that can be anyone, a 15 seed like ORU or number 1 seed like Gonzaga, Baylor, or Michigan. It's all about who shows up. So right now with 3 number 1 seeds, everybody's looking at them. But the upsets aren't over. It's just about who's it going to be. I've got my eye on ORU, Arkansas tomorrow night. I think it's 7:25. And so I can't wait to see that game and see how they're going to progress and continue to lift up the name of Jesus and his unconditional love for everyone.
Yeah, real quickly, do you think ORU has a shot being placed number 15? Do you think they got a shot?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about who shows up, George. It's all about who shows up. They've shown up. Ohio State, Florida, as you mentioned, now they're in the Sweet 16. Arkansas, they can beat Arkansas. Do not sleep on these guys because they can.
I'm curious. Folks have somehow found a way to adjust in the middle of this crazy pandemic and still hold these games. I mean, it was unthinkable that we could even have the NCAA tournament taking place today. Quite remarkable, right?
It is very remarkable, George. I commend all the coaches, the staff, and the students for really rising to the occasion and being able to block out all the distractions. And so I commend all of the teams, regardless of seed or whether you're in or out. The teams that have been admitted into the tournament, I commend them because it is a lot of work and focus that it takes to first enter the tournament and then advance as far as they have.
Yeah, well, one final question going back to the whole controversy with ORU. As you mentioned, it's about these kids and they've been working really hard. What's the sort of encouragement you give to these kids as they're facing this sort of backlash against them just because they're advancing?
You know what? Listen to head coach Paul Mills. They're playing for a bigger purpose, and it's about lifting up the name of Jesus. It's about lifting up what he stood for, what he stands for. He is he loves unconditionally. God loves unconditionally. And when you see, like I heard Stephen A. Smith say it earlier on ESPN, he was saying that, look, everybody's watching ORU and they affiliate them with being a religious school, but these guys are out there playing basketball. They're playing for so much more than just the game. And you can hear it in their tweets. You can see it in their tweets. You can read it in their tweets. You can hear it in the coach. And it's really about the love of Jesus that these kids are playing for. So much bigger than the game of basketball. And it's all inclusive and it's free. And so that is the good news, my brother. That is the good news.
Absolutely. And it is that good news, a clarion call as we get into this important Easter season. My man, Sean Brown. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, okay? Stay safe.
You got it, GT.
All right. See ya. Coming up, from fear to joy, a new film celebrates the holiest day of the year for Christians. That story in a moment. Stay with us.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Wednesday at 3 on the CBN News Channel. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back. Actress and producer Roma Downey and her husband Mark Burnett produced a film called Resurrection, telling the story of what happened after Jesus' crucifixion. It's all coming just in time for Easter. Take a look at it.
Jesus has risen. You will preach the gospel to all creation.
The film takes the audience through the gospel from the disciples' point of view. Downey said viewers will see fear and grief turn to joy when Jesus rises again as promised. The film will be available on Discovery Plus ahead of Easter on March 27th. Folks, that is it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Hey, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here by emailing us at newswatch@cbn.com. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. From all of us here at the headquarters of the Christian Broadcasting Network, have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend ahead. Goodbye and God bless.